Welcome everybody, we've got a brand spanking new video for you. We're looking at the 3.5 physics update, but more specifically, where you can and cannot go with that new update. We've been having a few trips around different maps, me and Hawkins, and the first one we found is on Siegfried Line War. You don't always need 2 tanks for this one, but it does help, and it does help if you're on the same team. But you can get up into this top room with a little bit of help from someone underneath to provide you traction, and when you are actually up you have a good shots through walls. If you're playing on assault as well, you can play it quite well, so you can find yourself quite covered from both sides. I did try different ends, but as a difficulty rating we'll look at probably giving this one a 6 out of 10 as an overall. Next one, we're on Mine Standard. We're in the middle of the map, the HD remake, and the first look is how you can get a very fast tank, stipulating, up onto the top middle. Now I'm playing with the hood off at the moment so you can see it come through. Rides up at the front, goes up on top, and with a little bit more traction you can go along the side. This one I'd probably give a difficulty rating of about 7 out of 10. Overall it's about that as well, because you do need a very fast tank, but once you're up there it is making things a little bit easier. The next clip is more or less bang next to it, the little house. This one you can pretty much use any tank you want, so if you are finding yourself in the middle and someone's on the other side, you can get yourself up and over the top. At the moment this was only chosen because Hawkins managed to get himself stuck in the spot and he killed my driver with the only shot he had on me. But using the rock to be able to get up and going over the top helped a lot, and you can pop over and maybe get a couple of shots into the side and also on the far side. I would like to point out though that most of the rocks on this new update, as well as the house, are like ice, so you do have to find traction wherever you are. You can see in the center of the house is like little slidey, like chimney pots, so to speak. The moment you get your tank on there is the moment you start sliding. Makes things extremely frustrating. Now I will point out, whenever you are doing things like this, be wary that because the rocks are made of ice, somehow, you will slide about everywhere. So you do need the speed, you do need the traction if possible. Next one is, again, Mine Standard, another little view. Using the very good speed of the Snake Bite. This is on the far end of the spawn, which you can get to if you have that tank. Using the rock on the side, you can launch yourself up, a little bit of bounce, a little bit of jump, and get up top. Unfortunately, because my tank isn't very fast, it's very difficult to do unless you have that tank available. Because it's only really useful for very fast speedy tanks and only decent for going across, an 8 out of 10 would be ideal to give this. Not something you would be doing at all in the games, just a nice little spot. And now we're looking at the lighthouse side. I do believe you could actually get up on this without the necessary need of being in a fast tank, but it is still quite useful if you want to be able to get spots across, if you've got the good camera rating and the speed to get up here before anyone ever does. You can get very good side shots on people, and if you want to go down the far side. Still be aware though that you can easily get spotted if you're not hidden behind the lighthouse or have the capability to hide. Does like a nice little side shots if you're aiming at people towards the middle of the hill, but because of its very ease of getting up there and because it's not very well protected, it's probably going to be looking at a 4 out of 10 for difficulty and overall rating. Do it at your own risk, at your own cost. El Haluf Standard. This one had a couple of good points. This one in particular can be fairly useful given the right scenario. You can get up here fairly easily with a little bit of speed, using the traction to be able to push along, and you have a large landing pad, and then you can move up to where Sergeant Hawkins is, a little bit further up. Now, in order to physically get up the hill that's in front of me, you will need 3 tanks. We tried it with 2, wasn't really quite capable of going up. There isn't much of a tactical advantage to getting up to this point, so it does kind of make it not really useful in a way. But if you have several tanks that are coming around the side and not round your right, maybe you're trying to flank and they're pushing through, you can get side shots and going down to the left, and we'll show you exactly what it is that you can physically see when a tank is over on the side and why it's not ideal. So here Hawkins is in the spotting over which you can actually see, and then when he says he's back in cover, not really ideal because you can still see some parts of the tank, and judging by the range you're still going to be hittable, albeit by not very much. You don't really need a tank with good accuracy to make the hit. Overall, another 4 out of 10, just because of how it is that you can get in the spot fairly easily, but it's not really a good tactical advantage unless the game is playing so. The next one is again still on El Haluf. This is a fairly useful one if you push around this side of the map. Whereas you can see Hawkins up top. I'm going to go slightly to the right. Not necessarily you need a fast tank, you just need to position it in the right place so you can get the traction when you're going up the hill. making sure that if you're going to slide to the right, you can slide to the right, where you're going to land where there is traction available, because as soon as you start losing traction, for some reason your tracks start stopping and just don't move again, you start sliding. Because of the tactical advantage you can gain from this and shoot over the top of people, and it is a very, very good spot, and you can get in it in slightly slower tanks than the snakebite, I'll give it a solid 7 out of 10. It's definitely one that's worth doing, especially if you're on the other side of the spawn and you're able to. Now we're moving on to Tundra. At the moment, he's just pushing me up to the top. This requires 2 tanks because there's a slight little dip, so you can't really get up. And because it's on the starting spawn as well, you can get up to it without anyone else being able to take a shot at you. And you get very, very good coverage across the map. The only problem is it requires 2 tanks. So I'd say it's a good 7 out of 10, but you do get a very, very good spotting point. The next one is slightly behind, more or less where the artillery spawns in most cases. What you're wanting to do when you're playing this map and you're wanting to get up onto these spots, anywhere that you don't see the rock and you see like moss or something growing over the rock, you can use as traction. It's very, very useful, especially for getting into spots such as this. Again, you don't need that specifically fast tank, but the opportunities of what you get when you're up here are ideal. You don't really need to do much. You are able to spot across. You can get into cover if you need to. You can drop down. You can go back up again. Tundra is filled with these spots, and this video takes up quite a lot of time because of that, and they're all really, really good. This one, 5 out of 10 for difficulty overall. The next one on Tundra, we start off getting with the really, really fun ones. This in the back corner, if you are finding yourself in a position where you need to get back, again, using the rocks as a slide, jump up and just slide down to the left where you can actually get traction, and you can get a good spot across and a good view. You're out of the way of a lot of people. Yes, you are quite open, but if you can use binos or coated optics and you're in a tank that has the camera rating capable, this spot makes a world of difference. You can get shots on people if they're coming around, if you've lost a flank. Overall, 6 out of 10 would be the best way of describing this top spawn. Moving on now, this is a very difficult one that we found uses for overall. It's more or less in the middle, so you're never going to really have an opportunity to do this because of the amount of people that do come up in the middle. If you can, and you have the fast tanks to do this, I would do, but it's very, very unlikely. You do need 2 tanks. You can get up the first part relatively easily, and you need someone else behind to push you. When you do get up, you do get a solid shot across to my right hand side as we're looking at it, but again, the amount of effort required to get up here isn't something that would be ideal. And you can't really, unless you can get another tank up here, you can't go up to the top one, because again, icy rocks slide you down the hill. So I would probably say a good 8 out of 10, just because of how much it would not be used in the game. Now we move on to another version in the bottom right hand corner. Not necessarily needs 2 tanks, but in this case we do use it. This is absolutely brilliant. This is one that a lot of people could get into at the very start of the game, requiring that both people are in tanks that can get up to this point, and that you actually make the journey up a little bit smoother. One tank pushes the other one up, and you get a fantastic view spot from the right hand side. But it's not only that, it's the cover that you can get whilst being in it. Now the right hand side, you can get up on the snakebite. Unfortunately, we're not able to record that properly, but you have cover in front of you, the trees, where you can shoot across. And should you need to, you can move down into that spot, which is right on the edge of the line where you can actually get to the edge of the map. You can sit in there, and providing your tank is low light leveling, you're never going to be seen by anyone other than artillery. So if you do need to get that Kolbanov's medal and you want to survive, maybe play an assault, this would be one easy way of getting it. Overall, 7 out of 10. Moving on to another standard Tundra map, This I do like. You can get it on your own, and it's a bit of a double whammy, so to speak. There's 2 specific spots. The first part you can get up with a little bit of speed, getting over the icy rocks. Because the gradient is so light, you can sort of glide up there without losing too much speed, which is one of the things that stops a lot of the maps, is you have certain spots in the map which are forward of you, so when you hit them you jump. Not ideal. But this one you can sort of get up and it's a little bit easier. Lots of cover on left and right side, lots of opportunities to shoot over the top. Definitely one that's worth doing. Probably say 7 out of 10 would be the most apt way of putting it, just because of what you can see, but the difficulty is there because you need to get to the spot before anyone else does, and it's kind of in a way that you're probably going to be shot before going up if you're trying for it at the very, very start of the spawn. The very last one that we found on Tundra is, it's annoying. Hawkins was able to get up in the snakebite very, very easily. Now you need to hit this in the right spot. Apparently I do it on the first attempt. I wasn't able to do it after. This one's going to be a 9 out of 10 definitely. If you follow the route that I'm coming down, you can see it's bang on point, and I do get up the top. It's only because of my poor driving skills that I wasn't able to complete it. At this point I should have turned right, but didn't. I carried on going straight forward. But you can get up there. But it is bloody difficult. You'll need a lot of practice. And last but not least, today we have the approval standard, and we're on the right hand side spawn, or the bottom right hand corner. This isn't a spot I've seen many people go into, and I'm not sure particularly why. It looks to be a very, very good shot. I would say, if you are going to be going up here, this is the only route that I found that's easy access for a lot of tanks, not just the fast little tanks, but is one that has a wide berth, so you have a lot of margin for error if you're going up. The icy rocks aren't going to push you off. Now when you do get up here, just beware of all the trees that you can knock over, because it is a genuine forest, and if you can, go up to the ridge. Very much similar to K1 and K2, where you have a lot of trees in the way to provide cover. Because it's easily to get up, but I haven't seen it being used very much, a 5 out of 10 would be the best way of playing how to put this. It's not really one that you will find may provide you the best cover, but the opportunity is there to do really well. And finally, we're on the other side of the map. This one's more akin if you're on the top left hand spawn and you come down. The reason why I'm adding this in here, and I know that a lot of people have gone in this anyway and know about it, is the bushes that you get as cover. Now I wouldn't go up the right hand side, but I'd go up on the left. You have a good opportunity to spot across. I wouldn't, if I was you, actually fire behind this bush, because you're easily detectable by what you can see. Because you have the opportunity of being able to camp and spot across, you also have the option of being able to be spotted over and over and over again. A good 6 out of 10. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will obviously be putting a few more videos up later on, and there will be a wins and fails finale season-ish with a super prize fund at the end, so do be looking out for that, and thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.